Hello folks, it's Anahita Rao, and here to speak about the second eclipse taking place this spring. Now we have the very last eclipse in Scorpio taking place on May the 16th. Now we've had eclipses in Scorpio in June 2020 and December 2020, as well as May 2021 and December 2021. So, similar themes can come up now. And of course, this can bring much needed closure and culmination to the matters that came up last year and the year before, depending on where Scorpio is in your chart. Some eclipses are more intense than others, so their impact lasts longer, but generally there is a 1 month, 3 month, or 6 month window to see the shifts and the changes. So let's talk about May's lunar eclipse now. We have a lunar eclipse taking place in Scorpio on the 16th of May at approximately 5 a.m. UTC in the nakshatra of Vishaka at approximately 1 degree. This eclipse is caused by Ketu, which is around 3 degrees away in Libra, so quite close. We also have Mercury retrograde at this time, aspecting this Scorpio moon from Taurus. And we also have Jupiter throwing its 9th aspect to the moon, as well as Saturn throwing its 10th aspect to the moon at this time. So this makes Scorpio highly charged now to give results, depending again on where it falls in your chart. Jupiter's aspect here is important, as Jupiter, of course, is the controlling planet of Vishaka. So being in the 5-9 angle from this moon is very auspicious. Similarly, Neptune is also in trine, in exact trine with this moon. So intuition and emotional sensitivity will be unusually high for many people. And of course, this makes it a good time to visualize what you need, what you want in your life, being that the Neptune and Jupiter aspects are supportive with the moon. Of course, we also have to pay attention to Mars's position, as Mars is the ruler of Scorpio. Mars is situated in Aquarius, where it was for the Bharani eclipse. And of course, Aquarius is 4 places from the eclipse, and it's at the end of Aquarius, just about to move into Pisces. So this suggests a good time to build new structures in your life. Or maybe building those structures is finally coming to a culmination, right? Due to that 1-4 angle being activated. So see what lordships Mars represents for you to get a hint of where you will be impacted. And whatever came up at the start of that Galsarp yoga this past December, towards the end of December 2021, can now also see a culmination, a resolution, a fulfillment of sorts. Because that same Scorpio-Taurus axis is getting activated, as it was back then. So see where this axis falls in your chart to get a hint of what area of life will get impacted and reach its final stage, its fulfillment stage. Now, this matter could have been ongoing for nearly 2 years, since June of 2020. Nonetheless, we cannot ignore the fact that it's a Scorpio moon. So fear, obsession, anxiety can feature highly at this time. And of course, again, Scorpio is the energy of death and rebirth. Yeah. So this is another reason your intuition will be very strong now. As well as the fact that there's a retrograde Mercury aspecting the moon. So take time to go inward and you will arrive at the answers quite easily that way. But whatever is coming up is going to be blessed due to Jupiter's aspect from its very strong position in Pisces. Saturn's aspect from its own house of Aquarius, similar to Jupiter, also suggests concrete results now. So expect some positive and lasting transformation in the area that Scorpio represents for you, especially if you have planets in Vishaka. If you do look at their lordships. Whatever came up during the last 4 Scorpio eclipses since June 2020 will reemerge for the final time, so you can deal with it once and for all. It will finally clear away old structures, old ways of living, old ways of thinking. And the decisions that were difficult to make back then now will be clear and necessary to make for positive growth in your life. Of course, again, this affects that Taurus and Scorpio angle. So if you have your moon and Lagna there, then of course you will be directly impacted. And as well, if you have any personal planets close to the eclipse degree. Being that Mercury is impacting the eclipse and it's retrograde, as well as debilitated in D9 at the moment, you will have to rely on your intuition rather than your intellect to reach a sound judgment now. The eclipse takes place in the 4th pada of Vishaka in the Cancer Navamsha. And of course, this pada is ruled by the moon. Cancer is its natural home, means your concerns at this time could be related to home, family, or domestic issues. Whatever decisions that need to be made will be highly emotional in nature as well. Here again, Saturn is exalted and aspecting the moon in the D9, suggesting some action needs to be taken. And perhaps you may have to take on extra responsibilities at this time due to family issues. But I would say don't go overboard here, as there may be also a tendency, because we're talking about Cancer and Navamsha, there may be a tendency to be overprotective or a little bit insecure as well. As usual, see what Scorpio represents for you to understand what may come up. Yeah, if it's your 2nd or 11th house, then this could be related to money and income. If it's your 7th house, you could be facing a culmination in your partnership, sort of like a final decision. Communications, as I said, could be emotionally driven because of that retrograde Mercury aspecting the moon, as well as the fact that the moon is in Scorpio. And this can create misunderstandings, so check and double check all your communications, especially the written ones, particularly with Mercury being retrograde. So let's talk a bit about Vishaka, where the eclipse takes place. VI means special, and Shaka means branches. So the literal meaning of the word Vishaka is many branches. It's sort of a fork in the road where you have to make a choice. So this tells us that there's potentially 2 paths available to us at this time, and both might be equally good. And with Saturn's aspect, you will certainly have to choose one. Vishaka is the only nakshatra with 2 ruling deities, Indra as well as Agni. So it can suggest an outside force or a powerful authority influencing our decision at this time. Agni, of course, is the fire that quenches our hunger, our desires. So this can suggest a culmination of some of our goals at this time. And it can show up in the areas that are represented by Scorpio in your chart. Yeah. Now with Mercury retrograde aspecting the eclipse, you also may be returning to an earlier choice at this time. But you will be going back and forth with the choices in front of you. So there may be a feeling of insecurity. But But there will also be a feeling that a definitive choice needs to finally be made. All lunar eclipses can be emotionally challenging, and here being in Scorpio, the moon will anyway feel a little bit insecure and edgy. So you would benefit, again, from doing remedies for the moon, right? Listening to soothing music, getting enough sleep, spending time in nature, drinking lots of water, moving away from social media, connecting with your family and close friends. Full moons are anyway a good time to connect with others. So it's a good time actually to spend with loved ones. Also a great time to take a retreat. And if you've ever been keen to explore more of the occult subjects like astrology, this eclipse will help you do that. It will help you go deeper. I would say it's an easier eclipse than the ones we experienced in 2020 in Scorpio, and I would say it's certainly an easier eclipse than the one that we experienced back in May of 2021. And it can open up new doors depending on what is represented by Scorpio in your chart. Yeah. So that's all for now. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, and share button. Thank you, folks. All the best.